We will stay with that because as well as having form as a world-class liar,
reducing power prices by $275.
$275 a year.
$275.
$275.
$275 a year.
Albanese is also, as we know, a plagiarism gold medalist.
Tony Abbott is not the least bit interested in fixing anything.
Bob Rumson is not the least bit interested in solving it.
He's only interested in two things.
He is interested in two things.
Making Australians afraid of it.
Making you afraid of it.
And telling them who's to blame for it.
And telling you who's to blame for it.
We must do better, and we can do better.
And we can do better, and we must do better, and we will do better.
He's a plagiarist because what was announced last night in the Albanese government's fifth budget was a direct cut and paste of Bill Shorten's election platform in 2016 and 2019. Now, the difference is that Shorten told you the truth and he lost, whereas Albanese lied to you and he won.
I ask you straight up, are you considering altering the capital gains tax discount in this country?
What we're considering doing is handing down a budget, Andrew, on the second Tuesday in May.
So no CGT change?
Our focus, as I've said, is tax cuts.
Can you rule out any changes to negative gearing and capital gains tax?
Yes. How hard is it for the 50th time?
So a lie, so clearly a lie. And yet this morning on Breakfast TV, the Prime Minister was still trying to defy reality.
We've changed our position.
So you've lied about your position?
No, we've changed our position.
But what's changed, Prime Minister?
What's
changed so much in the past 12 months that you've had to break a promise you repeatedly made when it comes to affordability and the intergenerational gap?
No, we're not. No, we're not, Sarah. Let's be very clear, Sarah. Be very clear. There is absolutely no change to existing properties.
If you, as you well know, Bill Shorten took negative gearing
and in addition
to the 2019 election and he lost. Why have you chosen to lie to Australians instead of letting them vote on it?
What we've done is to take every single dollar across the forward estimates that will come from any changes to tax, and we're delivering them back. The
in
income
2028,
tax cut
so
will bring in on
it equates
July
to about
1.
$1 a day or less, and that'll probably eat into bracket creep.
July, Sarah. July, you get a tax cut. Next July, you get another tax cut.
Now, forget last night's budget being the blueprint for the coming financial year. Instead, I'd see it as the start of the next election campaign, because at the heart of our nation's budget books is a financial plan built on a lie. But that requires the opposition to muscle up and go on the attack. It's been a while since the coalition has had an opportunity like this, but they can't miss taking it. Because, to be brutal, they won't just lose seats they should have won. If they fail to go hard here, they're gone altogether.
The 2026 federal budget just landed, and if some of the headline policies feel familiar, well, there is a reason for that. Welcome to Federal Analysis, where we break down what actually happened in Canberra this week and why it matters to you. Treasurer Jim Chalmers handed down Labor's fifth budget on Tuesday night, and he called it the most ambitious tax reform in 26 years. Over 13 million Australian workers will receive up to $250 annually in tax cuts, while the budget also targets trusts and property investors through changes to capital gains tax and negative gearing, measures the government says will level the playing field on housing. That is a big pitch. Cost of living relief for workers, and a rebalancing of the tax settings that critics have argued have favored property investors for decades. Now here is where the political history becomes relevant. The negative gearing and capital gains tax changes in this budget bear a strong resemblance to policies that former Labor leader Bill Shorten took to the 2016 and 2019 federal elections, and lost both times. The government argues the policy settings are sound and the economic conditions have shifted enough to make the case more compelling. Critics, including coalition MPs, argue this is familiar territory being revisited under different branding. The changes to negative gearing and capital gains tax are described by analysts as slow burns with respect to revenue, ramping up into the 2030s, while the immediate housing impact is expected to be modest. marginally slowing price increases but potentially reducing new builds and nudging rents upward slightly. So the policy does something, but perhaps less dramatically than the headline framing suggests. Opposition leader Angus Taylor used his budget reply to counter with a different tax offer, bracket indexation. Under Taylor's tax-back guarantee, a future coalition government would index income tax thresholds to inflation from 2028 to 29, which he described as generational tax reform, protecting 85% of income owners with relief growing to more than $1,000 a year by year 4. That is a substantive alternative, even if analysts note the long-term cost is significant and the retail messaging is a harder sell than Labour's housing-focused pitch. The nation's largest accounting group described the budget as a revenue measure that shifts more of the tax burden onto middle Australia under the guise of tax reform, while Treasury forecasts inflation peaking around 5% as fuel costs continue to feed through the economy. So the debate is real, the numbers are contested, and the political positioning is fully underway. That is your federal analysis breakdown. Drop your take in the comments. Does this budget help you or not? Subscribe for daily political breakdowns that actually make sense, and we will see you in the next one.